I won't be very long. We've already had two speakers. I'm sure you'll be getting into the actual workshop itself. Suffice to say, we'd like to thank DFED for funding this workshop. As you know that for the past 2 years, we have been working towards holding an elections that had credibility, that had integrity. And part of that, of course, involves capacity building. And as the High Commissioner highlighted, that you had a very short period of time, those of you who participated in the elections, to build up towards the elections, to get used to the system, to put in place various processes to ensure that we had a credible outcome, and indeed we had an incredible outcome too. Not just from a political party perspective, but also in terms of the results vis-à-vis the processes, the transparency and integrity that went along with it. I think what is really critical to also understand is that capacity building is very much part and parcel of the process. And we cannot ever know everything. Always the rules constantly change, circumstances change, demographics change. And as has been highlighted by the High Commissioner, for example, in UK, the voter turnout in some of these countries are incredibly low. So part and parcel of training, I believe, should also involve ensuring that we get as many Fijians, in our case, to participate in the elections. In UK, the voter turnout sometimes is 50%. American presidential elections, 51%, 53% of the people who are eligible to vote actually vote. What does that say about democracy? Democracy is not just simply about going through the process and ticking off the box and say we've had elections. Democracy also means participatory democracy, which means essentially that you as Fijian elections officials have to ensure that people actually participate in the elections. So things like voter education is critically important. Of course, we have our various challenges too. We are not like, for example, UK, that's topical at the moment. They don't have many islands. We have many islands. We have small communities. We have to reach out to people in small villages, in isolated islands. So the logistics. And when you have logistical challenges, it also has challenges for your processes. So it is very, very critical that we constantly learn from this and we are able to learn from other jurisdictions also. In that respect, I'd like to welcome I understand there's 5 participants from other Pacific Island countries here. I'd like to welcome them to Fiji. I understand there'll be a much larger group next week on Monday. But to thank them for being here, but also that you can learn from us. We are here to help you. We of course can learn from you because I'm sure there's certain things that you do in your own countries that we perhaps can learn from that too. And I think the whole idea is that this regional approach is very, very critical to be able to learn from each other. You know, when you go to international forums, as recently I was in a couple of forums last week and the week before last, you suddenly realize that when you are placed in an international forum, that the Pacific Island countries in particular, and other small island developing states, we have far more in common, and in fact far more isolated from the mainstream discourse. Whether any topic you are discussing, whether you're talking about economic development, whether you're talking about financing, whether you're talking about aid, whether you're talking about access to international markets, we small island developing states have far more in common than the rest of the world. We have our own uniqueness. And I think we need to capitalize on that in the sense that we need to put a positive spin from it, or to it, and learn from it. So I'd like to thank the course facilitators. I'm sure they have a wonderful course outlet laid out for you. As you know that, as has been highlighted, it stems from East Timor, where they in fact built up a country from the ground, and they obviously had various challenges too. And you know, we can also contribute to the course modules that may be going forward, and how we can constantly improve upon that. I think it's also very critical for Pienza to be a lot more attuned to what is happening in the Pacific. As you know that Fiji was part of Pienza before 2006, and then suddenly the connection was lost after the events of 2006. It is very critical that when you are talking about parliaments, when you're talking about elections office, when you're talking about the judiciary, that they need to be all dealt with in a very apolitical manner. All of these institutions goes towards building democracies, but also building strong independent institutions. So from the Pacific perspective, we must not ever allow any one of our brothers or sisters to be sidelined. Because in order to ensure longevity of democracy, longevity of strong democratic institutions, we must always handhold with each other. And this is why it is very, very critical that today and the next couple of days when you have the workshop and next week too, that you're able to use this opportunity to build bridges in the sense that you also build those networks. That is very, very critical. So thank you very much to DFAT, the Australian High Commission and the High Commissioner for being here, and also the course facilitators. And I wish you a very good workshop. Thank you.